Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 593rd Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you can see straight away, this is a medieval Total War II battle, and we're on our favourite map here, the battlefield of Pavia. This is a very popular map for medieval Total War II. And just to say, for this particular game, I just came on to MTW2 and just hosted cold, if you know what I mean. In other words, I don't know anybody who's in this game. I just hosted a 2v2, and I don't know whether the players in this game are ace, experienced veterans, whether they're mediocre, medium players, or whether they're newer players like myself. I've got no idea what these players are like, so this is going to be an eye-opener for me as well as it is for you. Okay, so it should be an interesting battle to watch. As you can see there, that long old Roman road, as I said there, separating the two teams. Okay, our first teammate is my first teammate is Geo Games, he's called, and he's bought the strongest faction in the game, and that's Spain. Okay, so Geo Games has bought Spain, to say strongest faction in the game. And there you are, you can see his dismounted chivalric knights there, very well armoured, good morale, really good infantry those. You see he's got several, quite a few of those chivalric knights, dismounted chivalric knights there. I believe he's got other infantry as well. Yes, he's got the dismounted conquistadores. Look how well armoured they are. I mean, they look really well armoured, and I think, imagine they'd be difficult to kill. And then he's got chivalric knights. It's for his cavalry there. I always think they look quite colourful there. And as I say, you can see the Spanish banner there is yellow and red, so you won't get confused. You'll know that that's his faction there. And there's his general unit there. Now the general unit, the bodyguard units in this game are very, very powerful and very strong. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does with that. So that's Geo Games' Spanish army there. As I say, I don't know him, I don't know anybody else in this game, so as I say, it'll be an eye-opener for all of us on how well, or how not well, if you like, these guys play. Okay, now it's my faction here, Spartan Commander, the Byzantine Empire. Here you've seen me fight with this faction before. I'm still trying to tweak the army a little bit, trying to make it as good as I can. Or you've got the Byzantine Guard archers. They got quite good long range and quite good defense, so they're quite good archers. And then we've got the dismounted Latin Con infantry. They seem to be quite good as well, good solid infantry. And then we've got the Varangian Guard. Now, these are effective against armour axemen, and they seem to be quite powerful as well. So it'll be interesting to see how well they do. Now their cavalry is very, very mediocre, very medium. It's kind of not rubbish, but it's not elite either. It's very, very medium, this cavalry is. So it'll be interesting to see how well they do during the course of the battle. Okay, so that's our team there. Just as I say, just a 2v2, and as I say, I don't know any of the players in the game, so it'll be interesting to see how well they play. I just thought we'd have a look at this building here, as this will, you'll see why later on in the battle. Okay, and you can see they've got those anti-cavalry sharpened wooden stakes. Okay, so remember, if your cavalry goes onto these wooden stakes, they will be killed quickly on those wooden stakes. So please make a note of that, because you'll see why later on in the battle. Okay, very effective against cavalry, those sharpened wooden stakes. I've seen a lot of cavalry get caught on those, and they're very effective. But there's a building. I thought we'd have a look in the courtyard of the building here. If you look in there, you can see there's a well there. You can just look round the inside there. I just thought that's quite an interesting build there. So it'll be interesting to see how well we do during the course of the battle. As I say, here you can see now, just having a look at this map, there's the enemy camp there, and you can see all the tents up and everything like that. I just thought this is an interesting bit of the map. Here you can see, once again, anti-cavalry sharpened wooden stakes. So if the enemy decide to fall back to the camp there, they've already got anti-cavalry defences around the camp. And also there's narrow inroads into the camp. It's difficult to break. I thought this was an interesting feature though, the archery ranger. And if you look closely, you can see that there's actually arrow holes in the targets where they've been practicing. I thought that was a nice little touch there. So as I say, this is an interesting map. Got flat areas, slightly hilly areas, a mound, areas where there's mounds. So it's quite an interesting map, this, and I think that's why it's so popular on MTW2. Okay, so as I say, this is going to be a really exciting, close battle, and I think you're going to enjoy it. And here is the other team. We've got somebody who's called himself Roger the Hamster, who has bought the French faction here. And as you can see there, you've got very well armoured Knights Templar there. They're very good. They've got good specification. I think they've got an 8 charge bonus as well, so they're really good cavalry. And over here, you'll see he's got 2 lots of infantry. He's got his Swiss pikemen. Okay, 112 man unit. Look at the length of those pikes. So we've got to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. Very powerful unit, that. And as I say, I think there's 112 of them. And then we've got the dismounted noble knights. I think those are effective against armour kind of maces they carry there. So they're also very effective. But here's a unit you don't see very often in our games. Artillery. Cannons. Now the rules were no artillery in this game. But Roger the Hamster has decided to bring some artillery here. Okay, so you can see, that if you look carefully, you can see the cannonballs piled up there. You see the cannonballs there. And so he's decided to bring artillery. Okay, I did say the rules twice, but he still decided to bring artillery. So I think this could be a deciding factor in the battle. The damage that those artillery guns can do, you'll be amazed at. So I think that could be a deciding factor. And their other teammate is a guy called Brove 671 Games. Okay, he's bought the Moors faction. Let's say you got the Camel Gunners here. Now they've got a very long range, very accurate, and can be a very effective unit, these Camel Gunners. They can be a real nuisance because, I say, they do a lot of damage with their effective against armour muskets there. And if you notice here, can you see that he's put his army around this building that we looked at earlier? That was the reason I looked at the building earlier there, was for you to have a good view at all those anti-cavalry sharpened wooden stakes. Okay, so there's no, you're not going to really want to attack those guys with cavalry with all those wooden stakes. And then he's got a combination of archers there. So you've got desert archers. They've got quite good range. Okay, and behind them, he's got the peasant crossbowmen. Right now, you might think, oh, peasants, so they're not going to be very good. But these guys fire effective against armor crossbow bolts and are a nasty surprise for people because they just think, oh, peasant crossbowmen, they're not going to be very good. But they've got good long range, and as I say, they fire anti-armor, effective against armor crossbow bolts, so they are very effective here. And if you notice here, he's got spearmen there as well, which of course will be anti-cavalry as well as anti-infantry. They're pretty good against infantry as well, but of course with their spears they would be more anti-cavalry. There you are, peasant crossbowmen again. As I say, the word peasant in these games you think are not going to be very good, but they've got good long range, they do a lot of damage. And as I say, he's got his army surrounding that building with those inbuilt, if you like, anti-cavalry sharpened wooden stakes. So it's got the potential to be a really great battle, and a really close one too. Will that cannon make the difference? I guess we'll have to see. Okay, this very, very early stage of the battle, you can see my ally Geo Games with his Spanish cavalry charging forward there. Must have spotted a target that he can hit there. Looks like he spotted some archers. Yep, he spotted some archers there. He's going to hit with his cavalry. That was a nice surgical hit there, and bang, and he smashes into those archers. Nice hit there by Geo Games. That was a really good surgical hit there. Here you can see them charging into those Camel Gunners. Remember those Camel Gunners, as I said before, got good long range, could do a lot of damage there. Okay, and that's a good move of his now to pull back. But as you can see, he's lost several of his cavalry as well. And there we are. Let's just have a quick look at the cannons here. And you can see them loading them. Can you see how they pick up the cannonballs, put them into the cannon? And then the guy comes in and makes sure it's all pushed in properly. And now we're going to see it fire. Or are they going to? No, they're going to move forward. And I think they're going to move those cannons forward. So the cannons are now loaded and ready to fire. Okay, now as I say, artillery was not allowed in this game, but he's bought artillery anyway. Now it's going to be such a close game that could really make the difference there. Okay, so we just have to watch out for those cannons. But as I say here, my ally charging forward with his cavalry. As you can see, he's lost a lot of his elite cavalry, or several of his elite cavalry there. So let's say it'd be interesting to see how well my allies do. As I said before here, I haven't played with any of the players in this game, so whether they're elite veterans, whether they're medium players, or whether they're new players like myself, we just have to see. But I quite like that charge there from my Spanish ally. Okay, here you can see it looks like they're going to be firing here. So as I say, I think it's quite good how you can see them load the gun up. Here you are, picks a cannonball up, loads it into the cannon. Here you are, into the cannon there. The guy might make sure everything's pressed in right there, and now it's going to fire. As I say, we never see this unit on our games here. So they already stand back, look, ready for the explosion. Bang! There, as they fire the cannons. I just thought that's pretty cool how they do that. But as I say, this is going to be such a close game, that cannon could really make a difference because they got massive range and they can do a heck of a lot of damage. Okay, now at this stage of the battle, something strange happened, which my ally didn't. I don't think my ally spoke to me all the way through the game. Now, I don't know whether it was a language difficulty or, you know, a problem there at all, but I don't think he said anything to me all the way through the game. And as you can see, he's all of a sudden starting to move all his army over here to my flank. He's coming over to my army here. Now, whether he fancies fighting the Moors, which is opposite me, rather than fighting the French, I don't know. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, he starts running all of his army over to my flank here. So, as I say, I was quite surprised at that. And as I say, the only thing that I can think of is he prefers to fight the Moors rather than the French. So, that's the only thing I can think there. If you notice here, can you see he's moved his cavalry forward here to cover his infantry and archers moving over to that flank there from attacking enemy troops. That's a nice bit of cover there by his cavalry, and good tactical thinking by him there, because the enemy may well have been looking to hit his archers as they were moving over to the left flank, but as I say, he's covered them with his cavalry, so that's quite a good move there. So as I say here, he's moved all his infantry now over to this flank, and as I say, the only thing I can think of here is he prefers to fight the Moors rather than the French troops there. Okay, once again you can see the Camel Gunners have come forward here with their good long range and effective against armour musket ball shot there. You can see, and you can see they're taking some casualties here. I don't think the defence of these Camel Gunners are very good, but as I say, they've got long range and seem to be very accurate. It seems to do a lot of damage when they're used. I haven't used this faction, so I'm not. I can't say I speak from experience of actually using them, but from what I've seen, they can be quite a devastating unit there. But as you see, we've thinned them out a little bit there with our crossbowmen, so that's good news. But as I say, the cannons, look how far back the cannons are, and they're still reaching our units from all the way back here. So it just goes to show the range of these cannons in this game. And this looks like a smaller cannon to me. It doesn't look like because they've got different sized cannons in this game, and that looks like a smaller cannon to me, but still got massive range. It seems to do a lot of damage to our troops. So as I say here, you can see that my Spanish ally here has brought all his infantry and archers over here. And as I say, it looks to me like he's possibly going to attack the Moors, but as I say, it was just completely out the blue. He decided to bring all his army over to this flank, and I was just mystified on what he was actually doing there by doing that. Okay, so he's moved his Pavis crossbowmen forward. Remember, those Pavis crossbowmen got long range, can do a lot of damage, effective against armour crossbow bolts. And here you can see the Moors general here. Looks like he's going to charge his cavalry in. Looks like he's going to try and hit the archers. You can see that one unit get ready to put his lances down. Look as he goes in and bang, as he smashes in there with that unit, trying to take out the archers. Now, just to say, archers in this game are pretty tough. Okay, not like Rome Total War where they get hit by cavalry and they rout. The archers in this game can really kind of stand up for themselves in fighting, and you can see there they repelled that cavalry attack. Here you can see Geo Games charging his cavalry forward into those Moors cavalry. As I say, he must have moved over to fight the Moors. Right, now remember, my allies got yellow and red banners, and as you can see, my units are kind of purple or pink. So you'll know which is our team. Here you can see my ally here moving his infantry over to attack those Moors around that building there. Okay, as I say, I've never seen a general put units around that building before in all the times I've played on this map. So obviously there's a reason for that. But as I say here, you can see his cavalry fighting there. But look at all those French troops ready to be committed there. Fresh, full units there ready to be committed to the battle. Okay, and as I say, don't forget that cannon that's firing into us. It shouldn't have been brought to the battlefield, and that is taking a toll on our troops. Okay, make no mistake about that. They seem to be quite accurate with their hits as well, and those cannons seem to have quite a good rate of fire as well, which is a bit unfortunate for our troops here. Okay, here you can see that fresh French cavalry coming in there. Now they may well want to attack our Spanish cavalry allies, and now they got a downhill charge bonus. Look, bang, as they charge in there, as that French cavalry smashes into our my Spanish ally there. Okay, now as I say, Spain is the most powerful faction in the game. Okay, I think Spain and Portugal are equal on that, but you can see the Spanish cavalry starting to rout now under the weight of those enemy cavalry. Okay, look at them pushing down onto my Spanish ally. You can see I'm bringing my Byzantine cavalry across there. Okay, so you can see here that my Spanish ally has been routed here, or a couple of his units are. I'm bringing my Byzantine cavalry into the fray here against these fresh French cavalry there. You can see my cavalry charge in there, and bang, as they smash in there. Okay, so here we are. You can see, as I say, my fresh Byzantine cavalry here against those fresh French cavalry. Okay, don't forget, when I alt attack with my cavalry, they have got effective against armor maces. Okay, their specifications of my cavalry is not very good, very mediocre cavalry, but that effective against armor mace, I'm guessing, really does make a difference with them. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens. Let's pause the game here. So as I say here, you've got all this French cavalry coming in. Now he's starting to bring his French infantry and archers forward as well here. So that's not looking very good there. Now you can see my ally here with his Spanish troops have now started a full-out attack on the Moors there. Okay, so you can see him charging forward there into these Moor troops. Okay, as I say, don't forget, Spain and Portugal are two of the most powerful factions in the game, and as I say, he decided he wanted to fight Moors here. That's why he came over to my side, and as you can see there, he's really attacking aggressively there. But don't forget, those Moors troops are pretty tough, and there's those peasant archers that are effective against armor, crossbow bolts shooting into them as well. Over here, look, he's got a small battle going on there with a couple of his units once again against those Moorish troops there. Okay, so as I say, my ally definitely being aggressive there with his infantry. He's got his Pavis crossbowmen plus my archers there shooting into the enemy as well, so we're going to be causing them a lot of casualties. Remember, archers in this game seem to have incredible long range, so that's good. And you might notice here, can you see I'm moving my Byzantine infantry forward here, because I can see those French infantry moving towards us. But meanwhile, my cavalry here is attacking those French cavalry that are coming down over the hill there, and you can see my ally there. As I say, remember, my ally is red and yellow banners, and I'm of course the purple banners there. Right, the blue banners there are obviously the enemy troops, or the French enemy troops there. Okay, so you can see my ally charging cavalry, and again, bang, as that cavalry charges in there. But this is a real tussle here, and you can see, I think the enemy French cavalry is doing well there. And you can see another more cavalry attack going in there, and bang, as they're charging. They're really trying to take out our archers, but as I say, the archers in this game can really hold their own against enemy troops. They got really good defense, and if you alt attack them, they are pretty formidable. So as I say there, you can see my purple cavalry there. And what I should do now is try and surge forward and maybe get above the enemy cavalry, but I can see that French infantry moving in onto the crest of the hill there, so that's not very good. But as I say, we've got our archers fighting there. Right, can you see I'm surging forward with my cavalry? See my purple cavalry charging forward there? I wanted to get really up on the higher part of the ground there to come down onto that French cavalry, but now that might have been a mistake, because I can see all that French infantry now has moved forward attacking my cavalry. Let's just pause the game for a second here. Okay, so as you can see here, I've moved my infantry forward, and you can see that the enemy have now got a downhill advantage onto my infantry. Okay, so remember, downhill advantage in all Total War games is quite big, and they're going to have the downhill advantage charge here onto my standing infantry. Okay, meanwhile, both Geo Games archers and mine are shooting into the enemy, and as you can see, Geo Games here taking his Spanish troops over here to fight the Moorish troops, and that looks like a pretty tough battle what he's got going there over on that flank. And you can see more of those Moorish troops coming round there, elite units, as well as those effective against armor crossbowmen shooting into him as well. Okay, so there's a general overview of the battle at the moment. As I say, my archers here are moving forward there. I'd like to try and get into the flank of the enemy troops if I could. But as I say, my infantry now are ready to take a downhill charge from the enemy infantry. Okay, you can see the enemy infantry coming forward here. They're going to charge in, downhill advantage here, and bang, as they smash into my infantry. Okay, my standing infantry ready to take the assault. Another unit going in there, and bang, as it smashes in to my forward units. Okay, and there further along the battle line, you can see that the enemy have brought his Swiss Guard in, those 112-man pike units. Okay, they're coming in onto my standing infantry as well. Once again, downhill. Look at the length of those pikes. Look how thick those pikes are as well. Very strong pikes there, as you can see there. And then another pike unit, another Swiss pike unit there coming in, Swiss Guard unit there. So as I say, my troops now are being held and pinned there. Plus, did you see that? Look, see my troops being thrown up into the air from the cannon fire? Remember, those cannons are still shooting into me here. Right, just pause the game for a second. So if you notice here, the enemy has moved his cannons up on top of the slope now, or up on top of the hill, whichever you want to call it, firing into me from that range. Okay, so don't make no mistake, he's causing me a lot of casualties with that cannon fire. And as I say, this is such a close battle, that can make the difference. Here you can see I'm pulling my cavalry back. I'm going to lock and load them there. I'm going to pull my cavalry back and decide where I'm going to charge in next. But that fighting uphill was too much for my cavalry there. I decided to pull them out the fray. You can see my Spanish ally there, still got a couple of units there fighting those French units coming in down on him. And as I say, my infantry here, they're fighting those enemy infantry that had that downhill advantage on me there. Okay, so there's a lot going on all over the battlefield. Even though it's a 2v2, there's a lot going on all over the place here. Trying to get everything in for you here as much as I can. But as I say, here you can see my troops there up against those French troops, and you can see those more Moorish troops there. I just saw that cannon fire again. I saw the flash of the gun, so that's going to cause me more casualties there. And here you can see that Moorish cavalry unit going to charge into my archers. Get ready for this. He's going to smash in there, lances down, and bang, as he smashes in, routed one of my archer units there. What I should have done there is held ground and alt-attack them, I think. But as I say, they've run away now, and my Spanish ally there is now attacking the Moorish cavalry unit. Okay, now you can see I've got my cavalry here. Now, I was trying to think about the best way to use my cavalry. Okay, it's battle damage now, very battle depleted. You can see very weak units now. Let's pause the game for a second. So what I'm thinking here with my battle depleted cavalry is to take them up around the flank, get above those fighting French infantry there. See if I could just get up here, maybe take out those archers if I could, and then charge downhill into the rear of those engaged French infantry. Okay, that's what I'm thinking to do with my cavalry here. But as I say, my cavalry has been very battle depleted, maybe not that powerful. But as I say, I'm taking them wide around there, and now coming up the hill now. Look, going to charge into those maybe into those archers there, and then come up over on the crest of the hill and come down onto the rear of those engaged French infantry there. Right, you can see me charging in there, and bang as I charge into those archers there. But now I remember thinking, right, I've got the hill advantage. Now if I get up onto the crest of the hill, I can now charge downhill a little bit into the rear of those engaged French infantry, and here I come, and bang as I smash in there. Unfortunately, because my cavalry units have been so battle depleted, I just don't think I've got the power and numbers to actually do much damage there. Remember, French infantry is elite infantry as well, and as you can see here, I've got my cavalry there, but they're so battle depleted, I just haven't got the weight of numbers to be able to carry that charge through to as far as I'd like to there. So just have to see what happens there. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say, charging down here, trying to sandwich that French infantry between my Spanish ally and my cavalry. Here you can see my infantry still fighting that those French infantry units that attacked. Okay, now over here on our other flank here, you can see my Spanish ally here still fighting those Moorish troops. But looking at the numbers game here, it wouldn't surprise me if my Spanish ally got taken out. Here also you can see a numbers game up against him as well. And remember, he's got those effective against armor crossbow bolts going into him all the time. Okay, and make no mistake, that cannon still shooting into me, still causing casualties there. And as I say, it's such a close game that let's see, he's moving his cannons even more forward, look, almost trying to get point blank range into shooting my guys. And my allies troops as well here. But as I say, my cavalry is still fighting here where they're effective against armor maces. But as I say, I just didn't have the numbers left there to really carry on the attack, which I want to smash into those French infantry. As I say, don't forget, those French infantry are elite troops there, and they probably had quite full units there, not very battle damaged at all. As I say here, my infantry is kind of bogged down with that French infantry there. You can see me moving forward, trying to get close in to them, forcing my way in, trying to kill as many as I can with my infantry there. Now if you notice here, I've done a tactical move with my archers. I've moved my archers over to this flank, so now I can shoot into the rear and flank of those engaged French troops that are fighting my infantry. Okay, so we're going to fire almost point blank into the rear and flank of those engaged French troops. Okay, but I must be aware of being attacked in the flank by enemy troops. You can see my Spanish ally. Let's pause the game for a minute. You can see my Spanish ally's got his crossbowman there. Right, bad news for our team. You can see the last two Spanish infantry units fighting over here. My allies' two Spanish units have now been routed by the Moorish troops there. Okay, so my allies now lost all his infantry that he had fighting over there, from what I can see, and those victorious Moorish troops now are going to come in and start attacking our archers here. Okay, so my ally wanted to attack the Moorish troops with his Spanish troops, which is what he did, and it looks to me like he's come off worse there against those Moorish troops. Okay, I guess it was a numbers game there. As we know, Spain is the most elite faction in the game. Here you can see my archers here. I've auto-attacked them against those Moorish cavalry. Right, did you see that cannon? Just blew up some of my archers, but he killed some of his allies' cavalry there as well. When that cannon ball blew up there, it, as I say, killed some of my archers, but killed some of his allies' cavalry there, and we both routed at the same time. So maybe using a cannon can be a double-edged sword. Okay, so here, as I say, you can see more of my Spanish allies' units are starting to rout here. Okay, I've put my archers on alt attack. I'm going to fight this enemy infantry with my archers in a hand-to-hand fight in there just to hold them up. Okay, well, I use my other archers to shoot into them, but you can see the victorious Moorish troops here coming over to attack our archers here. And make no mistake, once they've taken out our archers, they will be charging into the flank of our fighting troops here. You can see I've turned the flank on the enemy there. I've got one of my units around the flank there, attacking the flank. Two of my units attacking the flank of those fighting infantry. I've got my general unit behind there, not in the fray. Okay, so all my cavalry have now been taken out. See the dead purple cavalry there? Remember, they were very battle damaged, but I still charged them in there, and they are all dead. So I have lost all my cavalry, and this victorious French elite infantry can now charge downhill into my fighting troops. Okay, you can see them coming forward now. As I say, don't forget these French infantry are elite, and they've got that downhill charge bonus that they're going to charge into my infantry there, and bang, as they charge in there. So now you got all that victorious, as I say, French infantry that have taken out my cavalry and my Spanish allies' infantry units they were fighting there. So they're going to have good morale as they come forward here, charging into my units, especially with that downhill bonus as well. Okay, so things not looking very good. As I say, most of my allies' units has now been taken out, and my troops now are fighting these elite French infantry. Okay, now just to say, this is a good move here. He's using his my ally is using his general bodyguard unit really well here. Took out the cannon crew there. I wish he'd have taken them out a bit quicker there, so they can no longer start shooting their cannonballs into my troops. That was a nice move there. Now make no mistake, this Spanish cavalry bodyguard unit is extremely tough, okay, and fast moving, so he can use that around the battlefield as he wants, but he's taken out the cannon crew, so I'm really pleased with that. Okay, but here you can see an elite Moorish unit there as charged into the rear of my attacking troops as I'm trying to fight those victorious French troops. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So you can see, as I say, those victorious French troops are charging downhill into my troops. I'm fighting forward there as well, and I've got Moorish troops coming in on my flank as well. I keep my general unit at the back of my fighting troops. They're blowing that rally bugle all the time. Here, as I say, I've got my two archer units. I've auto-attacked here, trying to hold up these Moorish troops for as long as I can before they try and charge into my fighting infantry. Okay, as I say, I've got my general unit at the rear of my fighting troops, as you can see there, and he's blowing that rally bugle all the time, giving morale to my troops, keeping them fighting longer. Right, here comes that Spanish bodyguard there of my ally. Get ready for this. Lances down and bang as he smashes in to the rear of those engaged French troops there. Okay, I guess with a bodyguard unit you haven't got that many numbers there, so you haven't got the weight maybe of the charge. I was expecting that to penetrate further, but of course it's only a small amount of cavalry in the bodyguard unit, so you haven't got that weight, you know, to punch into enemy infantry when you hit. But here you can see that general bodyguard unit once again going for, I think, the archer unit of the enemy troops there, and bang as he smashes into them there. This is a good use of that bodyguard unit. He's using that bodyguard unit really well. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a lot of kills there. Look how that bodyguard unit has taken out those alt-attack archers there. Really using that bodyguard unit extremely well there. So he's done really well. But here you can see I've only got one of my archer units there for the alt-attack, still holding up those Moorish troops. Now this just goes to show you how tough some of the archers are on this game. You can see my troops there still holding up all those Moorish troops, that one archer unit. Okay, I'm shooting into those Moorish troops with my other archers there, weakening them, but our archer unit's still holding. So I'm really pleased. As I say, got my other archers here, battle damage as they are, shooting into those Moorish troops. As I say, here you can see I'm starting to move forward now. I'm starting to be aggressive with my infantry. I absorbed that downhill infantry attack that I took earlier, and now I'm starting to be aggressive. You notice I'm moving my troops forward now to attack these French troops. Okay, plus as I say, we got a Moorish troop unit there. It's an elite unit, I think, with hit points, 2 hit points as well. Plus as I say, I can see a couple of the French units starting to rout now as I'm surging my troops forward. Can you see how I'm moving my troops forward now? I'd like to get above those French troops with some units and come in down on them so that I get the downhill charge bonus for a change. See my troops surging forward there. Bang as they push into those French troops. Really surging forward. So I was defensive, holding the line for a long time there, but now I've turned aggressive. But you can see those Moorish troops have finally routed that one archer unit of mine that was holding them up, and they're now charging into the rear of my units. Okay, but you can see I'm really pushing forward into those French units there. I've got French missile troops shooting into me all the time as well. Still pushing forward there. As I say, some of these Moorish troops, look, are coming behind there to attack the rear of my engaged troops. I've got one of my units there. I've got 4 men in that Varangian guard unit there, where they're effective against armor axes there. Look how they're still holding, the 4 men still holding up that big unit there. Just goes to show how tough these guys are. And some of those Moorish units are starting to rout. Look, they were already very battle depleted, and that's why they were starting to rout there. But as I say, here you can see there's infantry attacking my archers again. Once again, I've alt-attacked, look, and my archers doing really good against heavy infantry. As I say, archers in this game can be incredibly tough. Here comes my allies bodyguard unit there. Lances down, get ready for this, and bang as he smashes in to the back of those couple of Moorish units fighting one of my archer units there. As I say, he's using that bodyguard unit all around the battlefield extremely well, and as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if he got some great kills. Here you can see my troops are really pushing forward into those French troops. I got that one elite Moorish unit in behind me. I think that's a French general we've just killed, so that's good news for us. They've lost their general morale bonus, and you can see a lot of the French blue and white bannered troops starting to rout now, as my Byzantine infantry there has managed to rout those French troops, even though they did have the downhill advantage there. So I'm very pleased with the way that my Byzantine army has done. As I say, being a newer player to this game, I'm still trying different factions out, but I don't see many people bring the Byzantine Empire, so that's why I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see if I can make a good army with it. I'm still tweaking the army a little bit, but it didn't do too badly there. As I say, look at my ally still using his fast-moving general bodyguard unit, cavalry general bodyguard unit all around the battlefield. As I say, he's been hitting selective targets with that unit, and as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if he has some great kills there at the end of the battle. As I say, we've managed to, thank goodness at last, I've managed to get on top of that hill. So pleased with that. But look, there's a big fresh infantry unit coming in there, going to get hit there, bang, as my ally smashes into the rear of that, and he's just stopped below the crest of the hill. So if I bring my infantry over, I'm going to get a downhill advantage there. See, a slight downhill advantage I'm going to take advantage of there. And we got him sandwiched between our allies, my allies cavalry general unit there and my infantry. Okay, so that's good news for us. Plus we've got that elite Moorish unit there, which I believe has got 2 hit points. Oh dear, that's my allies' general's just been taken out. Okay, but we've managed to rout that elite Moorish unit there, which I'm pleased about there. And as I can say, we've finally managed to get on top of that hill, which we've been fighting for ages there. And just that one French elite unit left there. As we're starting to move in on him, I'm moving my effective against armour axemen in on him, as well as my dismounted Lanikin infantry in there as well. You can see my guys swinging their axes around there. Remember, as I say, those are effective against armour axes there, and it wouldn't surprise me if those French troops, and they've just routed there. So it looks like our team has just managed to go on to win this battle there. Very, very close. As I say, it's only a 2v2 battle, but you'd be surprised on how spread out it is. Remember here, my Spanish ally all of a sudden decided to come over to my flank, and then without saying anything to me, and then charging his infantry forward into these Moorish troops. There you can see the dead there lined up in front of that building. Okay, so you can see it was a very intense fight over here between my Spanish ally and the Moorish troops, but the Moorish troops did prevail. And that could have really been a real problem for us here. As I say, looking across the battlefield here, some intense fighting here. This is where my archers, a lot of my archers were auto-attacked against the enemy infantry. And if you look here, you can see the dead moving across that path there. So you can see that it was really intense. But I think on the hill is possibly the most intense part of the fighting there. And you can tell that by the dead. Just look at those piles of dead there. And bear in mind, as I say, this is only a 2v2. Look at that massive pile of dead. You can see how intense the fighting was on this hill. And as I say, the enemy had that downhill advantage for the vast majority of the battle there. And I think that that shows there on how many of our troops are dead in that pile there. So if we have a look at my troops, you can see I've got 23 units in that. 23 men in that unit, 4 men in that unit. Now these are 90 men units. One man left in that unit out of 90. Oh my gosh. And then 2 men left in that unit. Remember, these are 90 men units. 46 men. Oh my gosh, that seems so many, doesn't it? 46 after looking at the other men there. And there you can see 24 men. As I say, 5 men left in that unit out of 90 men that were originally in that unit. So that's all the troops I've got left. My ally here has got a general bodyguard there of 2 men. That's all he's got left in that unit, just 2 men. And I think he's got some archers there. Yeah, and 2 more of his Pavis crossbowmen. And that's his entire army. That's all he's got left out of his entire army. So as I say there, it's there's a couple of enemy units left here. Oh, but they've just routed there. So first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As I say, I didn't know anybody in the game there, so I just thought that was an interesting battle. As you can see, it was a close victory, as I guess most of us thought it would be close. Highest kills, as I thought, would go to Geo Games there, 1,420 kills. As I say, I think a lot of those kills would have been with his bodyguard killing archer unit. So well done to him. I managed to get the second highest kills, 1,308 with my Byzantine Empire. Roger the Hamster, 1,238 with his French, and the Moorish player there at 1,248. So some good kills there for you guys. Quick look at the statistics of my army. When I look at the statistics there, I never think, I mean, the cavalry haven't done very good. There, the archers didn't do, fantastic. And if you look at the infantry kills, they didn't do very good either. So I'm not sure why I keep using the Byzantine faction, really, because they don't seem to get great kills, but I still quite enjoy using them. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this battle. As I say, it's what I call a hosting cold battle. I just came onto MTW2, hosted a battle, people who I didn't know joined, and it turned out to be a great battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.